The room tightened as a disturbing report was brought into the spotlight. What followed was a tense exchange over truth, accountability, and what really happened in the Pacific.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to the witnesses. I have questions for Admiral Bradley and Secretary Anderson really about two topics, Operation Southern Spear and then the Preservation of Force and Family initiative that you've discussed. On Southern Spear, I'm correct, am I not, that the lead on Southern Spear operations is Southcom, but special operators often play a role in particular operations within that. Am I correct?
Yes, Senator.
There is an article that was published on April 21 in The Guardian that I'd like to introduce for the record. The title of it is, "We Were Terrified They Were Going to Kill Us. Fishers Who Survived U.S. Boat Strike Speak Out." If I might introduce that into the record, Mr. Chair. You guys will be surprised to know that I don't just believe everything I read in news accounts, but this is one that is public that I want to ask about. It's a story about a U.S. strike, purportedly, on an Ecuadorian fishing vessel near the Galapagos that took place on March 26. And the indication in the story, say it's a week old, is that this was a fishing vessel, that after the boat was struck, a U.S. patrol boat rescued those on the vessel, handcuffed them, transported them to a Salvadoran patrol boat. They were eventually taken to Salvador, where they were released to a UN shelter, and then eventually taken back home to Ecuador, where they were released without charge. Are you aware of the allegation of this U.S. strike on this Ecuadorian fishing vessel, Admiral or Secretary?
Senator, I am aware of the article. I'm also aware that later in the article, it quotes the department's response to it as there not having been any U.S. military involvement. I'm also aware that there were no recorded or no U.S. strikes within 3 weeks around that incident. As well, I believe the Ecuadorian government has rendered judgment that there were no U.S. involvement in that. So I can't speak to any greater detail. Obviously, Southcom and the department would own that, but those are from superficial observation.
Yeah, let me read the portion from the article that I think you're referring to. The Pentagon and the White House did not respond to requests for comment. U.S. Southern Command said it had, quote, no information to provide regarding any U.S. government personnel involvement in any of the incidents, close quote, laid out. Are you aware of any investigation into this? I mean, this is a pretty, tough claim, the tough claim that the U.S. would have attacked a fishing boat that had nothing to do with any group on the classified DTO list. Are you aware of any investigation that's being done into this public reporting to see if it's accurate or not?
Senator, I'm not. I believe, though, the methodology we go through is first to assess a claim like this, whether or not it is credible. Mm-hmm. And I believe from what you've cited there and what I understand from the rendering, that it was deemed not to be credible, therefore further investigation not required.
And Secretary Anderson, is that your understanding as well?
Yes, Senator Kaine, exactly what Admiral Bradley say. Unaware as well from what I've been told.
So your testimony, based on your understanding, and this is Southcom Equities, obviously, but Special Operations participates, is that this public reporting, at least Southcom has gone back and they cannot find evidence that the U.S. carried out strike operations of that kind on that day. That's your understanding?
Yes, Senator, it is.
Yeah. Well, I think it's important to put that on the record because obviously if there is information about the veracity of this, it should come out. One of the things that I think can be a little confusing in this instance that could have led to confusion in this circumstance is, as far as I know, Southern Spear is a military operation carried out against targets connected to organizations, the list of whom are still classified. Is that correct?
I believe so, Senator.
I think that the operations authorized by the president can be carried out against organizations on a list of DTOs, designated terrorist organizations, that is classified. It's only been shared with Congress in a classified setting. It's not been made public. And that also means the enemy hasn't been told you're an enemy. If you declare war against Iraq, for example, or Al-Qaeda, that public declaration alerts the enemy to know that, hey, you're the enemy if you associate with a group subject to the designation. If the DTO list in Southern Spear is purely classified, that means we haven't alerted those who the U.S. has determined are combatants that we are, in fact, engaging in war against them, and that can lead to confusion. My time is up, but I just want to say this. I do commend what you guys have done on this Preservation of Force and Family initiative, and I think it's particularly needed among special operators, but I also think it offers a template more generally for the way we ought to approach the issue of the long-term well-being of our service members. So keep it up and spread the best practices from what you're doing. Thank you.
This hearing took a sharp turn when a troubling allegation entered the conversation, one that immediately raised serious concerns about military accountability. Senator Tim Kaine introduced a report claiming that a U.S. operation may have targeted an Ecuadorian fishing vessel near the Galapagos. While he made it clear he doesn't take every media report at face value, the gravity of the claim demanded answers. And in that moment, the focus shifted from routine oversight to a potentially explosive international incident. What makes this situation especially sensitive is the nature of the allegation itself. According to the report, the vessel was struck, its crew detained, and later released without charges. If true, it would raise major questions about operational judgment, intelligence accuracy, and the rules of engagement governing U.S. forces. Civilian harm, intentional or accidental, has far-reaching consequences, not only for those directly affected but also for global perception of U.S. military actions. However, the response from military officials was firm and consistent. Admiral Bradley and Secretary Anderson both stated they were aware of the report but found no evidence supporting the claim. In fact, they emphasized that no U.S. strikes were recorded in the timeframe mentioned and that even Ecuadorian authorities found no indication of U.S. involvement. From their perspective, the allegation lacked credibility and therefore did not warrant further investigation. Still, Kaine's questioning highlighted a deeper issue: transparency. When military operations involve classified targets and undisclosed lists of designated threats, it creates an environment where confusion can thrive. Without public clarity on who is being targeted and why, incidents can be misinterpreted, and trust can erode. Kaine's point wasn't just about this specific allegation. It was about ensuring that oversight mechanisms remain strong enough to verify the truth, even when operations are sensitive. In the end, this exchange reflects the delicate balance between national security and accountability. While the military maintains that no wrongdoing occurred, the mere existence of such a report underscores the importance of vigilance. Hearings like this serve as a reminder that even unverified claims deserve scrutiny, because the stakes, both human and geopolitical, are simply too high to ignore.